Today, there is now more ChillPoint than has ever been in the entire world. This is ChillPoint. That's right. We've hit a milestone. More ChillPoint than has ever been before.
Don't we get that every week?
We can have a milestone every week.
Yeah, it's nice, right?
What do we get every week for having this new milestone?
Oh,
Do I get a pay raise?
no.
Do I get cookies?
Ooh.
If there are cookies in the kitchen, then yeah, you could have them. Hey, everybody. Welcome to ChillPoint, the show where we talk about video game news and occasionally get cookies, if there are some in the kitchen.
I can go check. I can go look.
I mean, I say that because there often are cookies in the kitchen
I don't think there were today.
for various reasons.
I have a variety in my office.
Oh, I see.
Well, they're
Really?
biscuits.
Were they
technically,
previously in the kitchen and now we're in your office?
but- No, these were ones I paid for
Oh,
as
okay.
opposed to the ones I snuck out of the office the last time.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, talk about video game news as well as the episode of CheckPoint that went up yesterday. Yeah, let's get right into it.
Oh, Paul is just like, no, today we go for it.
Yeah,
If I go fast enough, they can't say anything.
starting with WB or-
WB.
or
W-
Warner Brothers.
Warner is a B.
And
what?
Another great movie that no one will see.
them being silly billies and closing a bunch of studios. And as we've talked about on this channel and on CheckPoint and on ChillPoint before, unfortunately, people closing studios unto itself is not news, or it's not news for us.
It's too commonplace
in
now.
the sense- in the
Isn't
sense of-
that fun?
There's nothing funny to say about it.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
or that reason. Sure.
if people close their studios and do so in a very silly way, in a very stupid way, or make a extremely dumb statement afterwards, then hell, that's news again.
Grist for the mill.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah. So
Who uses the word swagger anymore?
WB closed WB Games San Diego, that was working on an exciting new AAA free-to-play cross-platform game that we don't know. First Player Games, which was working on multiverses or had been working on multiverses, which just recently got canned. Or
Wait, it got canned again?
Yeah, it was there and then it came back and then it went away again. It has now gone away again, and the studio developing it is also gone away. So presumably
It's probably not coming
back.
back this time.
Yeah.
Okay. Honestly, I forgot that it came back.
And then
even though I think I knew that.
And then Monolith, which, and Graham wrote this story, and he shares my fond memories of Monolith.
Oh, good.
In all honesty, most of those memories are not recent.
But they're probably big.
And
Yeah.
whether and there's significant indication that that's not their fault.
As a Nintendo fanboy, I have to say that having
that's a different Monolith.
a long-standing love for a single company, based on like stuff that they did that was great years ago, and thinking that the next thing they'll make will be great too. It's like it's completely believable. It's okay to be like they made some great games once, and so therefore I'm always going to feel really good about that. I'm like, sure, I get that you like a studio for a long time. Has Monolith always been making consistently great games?
Well, they did No One Lives Forever.
Yeah.
Classic.
People love that.
Amazing, super fun game. Fear, I will say, wasn't my particular cup of tea, but it was a very successful game, and they made a couple in the franchise.
Right.
Same with Condemned Criminal Origins. Tron 2.0. Now that was a game. I played that actually on stream back in the things on my stream days. When we had
okay.
I played that on my stream, and it is that was legitimately not only a super fun game, but I would argue more successful as a sequel than the actual like Tron Legacy movie. In the sense of actually being like a good continuation of the Tron movie.
Right.
Because it was actually, at the time that Tron 2.0 came out, Tron had been in development hell in order to make a sequel
Right.
for years. And so Tron 2.0 came out and was actually sort of dubbed canonical. Like it was considered to be the canonical sequel.
This
to
is your
Tron.
lore sequel, yeah.
And then they did Tron Legacy and changed it. But Tron 2.0 was super fun. And then they also did the Shadows of Mordor and Shadows of War games, which again I didn't play, but I was I know.
Are those related, or are they on their own separate things?
Shadows of Mordor and Shadows of War are they're sequels. They're Shadows of Mordor is the first one, and then Shadows of War is the sequel to Shadows of Mordor. Shadows of Mordor.
Right.
And they those are two games again very highly regarded. So
I do remember Shadows of Mordor coming out. I remember people talking about that one.
And the thought was that they were working on something that was, I forget what I think there's I have a thing here for what the next game they were working on after Shadows of Mordor.
Shadows of Rormor.
Raw.
No One Lives Forever 2.
No, they were working on a non-Middle Earth game because they actually
the Tales of Not
a
Middle
game
Earth.
called Legacy. They were working on.
That sounds
That sounds like a code
generic.
name, actually. Yeah, because that's really generic.
Yeah. So basically, they didn't want to develop another Middle Earth game.
That's fair. Middle Earth is kind of middling. They didn't want to try like a higher Earth game.
So they wanted
lower
to
one.
they wanted to do something with their own IP, and so they worked on this game called Legacy for a couple of years. At which point WB was like, no, don't do that anymore. And according to reports, when WB canceled Legacy and said, now we want you guys to make a Wonder Woman game.
Ah, right. Yes.
And at that point, basically the entire upper management of Monolith left and formed their own, and a lot of them went on to form a different studio.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Cliffhanger Games over at EA.
Why? How does that end?
I don't know. I have to keep tuning in.
I mean, you gave me a bit of hope there for a second because you're like, they went on to form their own game studio, Cliffhanger Games, for EA. And
For EA.
So, like at the very end there, I was like, I thought.
Or they really just want to throw you off that cliff more than anything.
Apparently, the Cliffhanger is currently developing a Black Panther game.
Okay.
So I don't know what that.
So we don't want to work on DC. We only want to work on Marvel.
Apparently, they don't get to work. I mean, they don't get to work on whatever their original IP game they're working on. But
this comes back to the larger problem of like we've had all these tech layoffs for the last several years, hundreds of thousands of people being laid off. And I just read a whole article that Cory Doctorow spoke in a speech, and so I'm coming in hot with a lot of these ideas and figures and stuff like that. But the sense that's like tech workers, as he puts it, tech workers used to be of a very specific type of class. Is that beyond even the gaming industry, is that if you went to work for a company and you knew how to do all these things, then bosses were fine with keeping you around and keeping you happy and doing whatever. And so that the moment that they wanted you to do something that was shitty or that ruined the product that you've been working on for whatever, or stuff that you didn't really want to do, you could say, no, I'm not doing it. And there wasn't much the bosses could do to kind of stop you because they didn't have anyone else they could hire. And that, of course, has changed. And I think that kind of tech worker idea that's also in the gaming industry. It's like when you were having people develop games and they have a lot of freedom to do whatever it is that they want. But now it's become, well, bosses and licenses and all these other deals go way out of their way to influence what a studio will end up making, because ultimately the studio's like, we want to be able to make whatever we want. The problem is that we need to have money in order to pay the people to make the thing in the first place. And we need so many more people now to make these things that we need so much more money, or else we need to take a huge risk on being able to, pay our way out of it later, which is the way construction companies work. But yeah.
And I mean, so as I said, the closing of Monolith by itself, while tragic, is not necessarily news.
No.
But when JB Perrett, the CEO of streaming and games for WB, he sent out a company-wide letter. As far as I could see, the full letter is not available anywhere, but Polygon, who did most of the reporting on this, had
Excerpts?
A bunch of excerpts from it. And yeah, as you know, they want to work on fewer, bigger franchises. They're 4 tentpole, whatever you call them, 4 pillar franchises.
They should just call the one Batman, though, instead of calling it DC.
Yeah, being DC, but actually just Batman, because they were working on a DC game.
Yeah.
DC, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, and Game of Thrones.
So basically, the 4 things that we want you to work on are 4 media things that were never video games to begin with.
Yeah.
That's the tentpoles of our company, is that we want you to make video games for content that were never video games to start with.
And then he goes, yeah, we're going to get our swagger back, one high quality game release at a time. And as you were talking about, like, you need so many, there's so much risk involved in some of these things. And, one might argue that if this, because there's this, I also love this thing where this statement where, and I don't think Graham did, the quote was on screen, but I think Graham sort of didn't quote the whole thing, but the continuation it says, our financial credibility gets rebuilt one fiscal quarter at a time, delivering what we said we'd deliver without negative surprises or something, like without unfortunate surprises.
Sure, yeah, okay.
No, I like negative surprises.
Yeah. Okay.
And because but like, one might think that, like, hey, if you're feeling, if the company is kind of in this, like, we need a win.
Yeah.
Like we're not only sort of financially and from a business standpoint, but also from a sort of public perception standpoint.
Yeah.
Then maybe you could try doing some kind of lower risk, lower cost thing.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like like the Ubisoft did that, like the Prince of Persia 2D Prince of Persia game.
Lost Crown.
Yeah, Lost Crown.
Yeah.
Where it's like, and I don't know if Ubisoft considers Lost Crown to be like a big success, but it was like,
Didn't they can that team?
I think probably they did. But it was like,
they're done
Lost
making the
Crown was a, fairly quick, fairly cheap game that a lot of people really enjoyed.
Yeah.
It maybe, it's not a live service game that's going to sell forever,
Yeah.
but people really enjoyed it, got really good reviews. People got excited about it. I would argue, and I have no numbers to back this up, I bet over 10 years, the Lost Crown and that kind of a game is going to be a lot more interesting on the long tail than a live service game that works for a year and then you have to just turn off all the servers and it dies.
Yeah, there's
So, but like getting a couple of those games out there, and to sort of rehabilitate your image.
yeah.
Maybe that would be a good idea,
And the problem though is
rather
that
than being like, okay, $200 million on a new Harry Potter game or whatever.
yeah, part of the problem with this idea is that you have a media franchising company that owns video gaming companies, and from their point of view, it's like our core competency is turning our IPs into more products for people to consume, right? That's the like, and shit, Nintendo's like that too. Let's be honest, right? Like,
Well,
again,
yeah, they've been trying to expand the whole point of having your stuff over a huge amount of different media
Yeah.
types is to find different ways for people to interact with stuff that you already own.
yeah, because I might not play Pokemon Cafe Mix, but I might go to the Pokemon Cafe. But anyway,
Sure.
that kind of idea, right? But the idea, like with WB here, basically saying that it's like we have these big 4 tent poles that are IPs that are representative of whatever. None of them are actual video game IPs. They're just worlds. They're just like they're universes that we want to develop into everything, and we plan to put all of. It sounds like what they're saying is we plan to put all of Warner Brothers on the backs of these 4 tent poles, and that if none of these actually perform, or if everyone starts to hate all of these things, then we're screwed. And I'm like, right, how much better could you do with a good studio, like or multiple good video game development studios, when you say to them, it's like, why don't you guys develop some video games? Regardless of franchise, why don't you guys just develop some video games and some stuff that you think is very good, and then because we have the money, so we'll put the money into letting you develop those things that are good, as opposed to these things that are tie-ins to something else. And it's hard for me to say that out loud, because it's this thing of, well, of course Monolith wanted to make something really good.
Probably.
Of course they did. Right?
Usually the people working on stuff, like the coding and the story writing and stuff, they usually want to make something good.
They want nothing more than to be like, the next thing I put out is going to be top notch kind of thing. But what if, as you say, what if there's more room to say, we're not giving you $100 million to develop this game, but what we will do is give you $10 million to develop this game, or we'll give you $10 million 5 times to develop 5 different games, and we'll see where those go, and we'll see what we can grow them into, or whatever. Like, I feel like this large media conglomerates buying up video game studios is all it's doing is hurting video game studios.
I want to actually make a correction. I said Lord of the Rings was one of their franchises. It's not. They don't actually have Lord of the Rings license anymore. Mortal Kombat. So
An actual video game
that is
pillar.
an actual video game franchise.
Yeah.
I mean, the other thing that
That one got a
strikes me
movie.
about this is WB, a media company, they're these like tentpole ones. Mortal Kombat is like the only one they own. It's like Harry Potter, DC, and Game of Thrones.
Yeah, those would all be stuff that they
I mean, they bought
would have.
the license.
They would have
obviously.
licensing because they have licensing for other stuff they do with it. It's all
But they
probably
didn't
wrapped
create
in the
any of
same
that.
Yeah.
contract.
Also, yeah, I question how much juice Game of Thrones has in it from a game point of view these days, but I don't know.
I don't know.
Oh, DC
I mean,
is
it's-
actually owned outright by AWB now, I see.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well then,
Yeah, that wouldn't be that surprising.
All right.
yeah, primarily Batman, because there's so many more stories to tell about Batman. I mean, I mean there are, but
I mean,
it's just
Well, it also
Sure.
it also depends on what they think that they're. It also depends on how they slice and dice their demographics, and how absolutely cynical they are about slicing and dicing their demographics, right? Because it's like, if they come at this being like, well, how do we see our potential customer? And they're like, the customer who plays Arkham Asylum is probably not the same customer who plays Harry Potter wizard asshole. Like, I have no idea.
and also wait, isn't like the Batman games that have been the most successful are the Arkham games,
Yeah.
which WB isn't
Well, Rocksteady did all that, but I would have assumed.
they're
if they
owned by
own
Microsoft now, aren't
if they own DC outright,
If WB owns DC, that means that
They're already
that
getting
stuff
the
is being
license.
licensed from them, so they're still making money off of that.
right?
Yeah.
But the whole point of tentpole stuff is so that you can, again, hold up the tent like the other products that you're making.
You put
that
other things
are,
underneath
yeah,
the tent.
you don't just have tent poles.
yeah,
That's
because
a good point.
Disney's
You have to have a thing under the tent.
Yeah, Disney's whole thing of like we have Mickey Mouse and the traditional Disney characters, but we also have Fox content now. So you have The Simpsons and whatnot, but you have Star Wars and you also have Marvel. And that idea of like we have these massive franchise opportunities, and WB I think is looking at that, being like, well, why aren't we Disney? Like we have Bugs Bunny, but we also have Superman, but we also have, Game of Thrones. It's just like, yeah, I don't know. Multiverses is supposed to be, I think, representative of what they would consider their reach to be. Like all the characters that would work in there. It's like, these are characters we think that we can actually involve and do work with. But I'm not convinced that these moves are good or proper moves. But anyway.
But yeah, just this. So the main thing, obviously, to come back to this story, the main thing was this. Yes, this we need to get our swagger back. It just sounds so much like this CEO of streaming and games. It's like he's having like a midlife crisis and is like, well, people don't think we're cool anymore.
Go buy an RX-7, dude.
Yeah, it's like maybe
I thought you were supposed to not care if people thought you were cool anymore at a certain age. I don't know
Yeah.
when that is, but like if that
Immediately,
happens.
it's actually the thing I saw recently is like
People tell me it
We
happens.
need to shame people over 30 who think that they need to give a shit about whether people under 20 think they're cool. Like we need to be like, you need to stop.
I definitely don't think people under 20 think I'm cool.
Right, and it's like, but it's like you need to tell more people. It's like you need to stop giving a shit about that. It doesn't matter if people who are 16 think you are cool or not. You are at this age. You should not have to think about whether they think you're cool or not. That might actually do more to make them think that you're cool, in fact, if you don't give a shit what they think about you. That's fine. You need to concentrate on, like, does my peer group, like, do I get along with my peer group, and am I doing things that they think are cool? The people
think
that are
they
in my,
are already thinking
in my
that
age
part, though.
cohort, right? So
Because their peer group is other people who are assholes.
yeah, that have this. Also, can I say CEO of streaming and games? Again, that blows my mind that you're like, you work for WB, but you are the CEO of streaming and games, and I'm kind of like, that's weird that you have a business unit that has a CEO, but I guess that's how you make that. Whatever, you can call anybody CEO if you want. I guess who gives a shit? But streaming and games, being put together under the same thing, I'm like, that is a poke in the eye to the size of the video game industry.
It's like,
and where you see your place in it.
it's got a very the Oscar for musical or comedy.
Yeah,
thing.
right? Like it's like,
It's like,
one
we'll
of those
put these
things does
two-
way more business than the other, and you are refusing to acknowledge that by saying that, well, streaming is all. I'm like, yeah, streaming is very important to you. I get that, but like interactive entertainment is blowing away your industry. And the fact that you have a guy who's like, well, I'm in charge of both these things. And that's the second thing is I'm like, yeah, you guys are from that era of, but TV and movies is most important, right? And I'm like, man, I don't know if it is.
I mean, for WB, maybe it is.
Maybe it
They
is.
certainly
Might
aren't
be.
making much money.
That's
on this.
what they know, right? And it's like, this gaming thing, I guess we'll do this with it. And I'm like, yeah, that kind of gives me a sense of your attitude there. Anyway.
I don't know. I'm not going to actually guess if they actually know which one. I'm not going to make assumptions that they think that the video game industry isn't as big as TV and movies. I don't think that's quite true anymore. I think that has shifted, but
I can't say. Maybe it's their share of it, though, they're looking at, too. Anyway.
it's more, I think what we've shifted to is all of your video games have to be big masterpieces or they're all disaster pieces, and that's not a good trend to be in.
That's a terrible
Yeah.
trend, yeah.
Speaking of terrible trends, this is one of those stories that we have a very narrow slice into what is, of course, a much bigger thing. But with all the invasion of Ukraine and all that kind of stuff, but one of the very many implications of that was the sanctions that many Western countries and European countries and everything put on Russia.
Yes.
And Twitch, being a American-based company,
Being part of Amazon, yeah.
had to comply with those, and so they weren't paying out to Russian streamers. And so this Russian was it former League of Legends pro player, Kirill Konstantinovich Malofeyev had to sued Twitch in Russian court. Initially, did not succeed, and then, which
mysteriously,
I mean, yeah, I mean when it's the Russian court, they can set whatever rules they want, and it makes sense that the Russian laws would make it illegal to have sanctions against themselves. So when he sued them again, because they were sanctioning Russia, they won.
Yeah.
Also because they didn't tell Twitch that they were doing that.
Of course not. Why? Yeah.
Which is but the penalty that was applied by the Russian courts was, I believe, something like 1,000 rubles a day, doubling every week.
Uh-huh.
And if you know your logarithmic scales, or even that, that whole the chessboard with the rice grains.
Yeah,
thing,
exactly. Yeah.
doubling every week starts to add up pretty fast.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the annoying thing about this is that so until the amount of money that Twitch theoretically is being fined by the Russian courts is more money than exists in the entire world.
Mm-hmm.
And they attempted to serve the Turkish, because of course Amazon is pulled out of Russia.
Yeah.
But they attempted to serve the Turkish branch of Amazon, but that didn't work.
Yeah, well, because it was that or reinstate the payments or the account or something.
Right, but
Which
presumably
they
they also can't.
They can't do that.
Because of the, yeah. And so Twitch has now actually sued. I'm just going to go with Licrit, which is his Twitch username.
Okay.
Basically sued him in American court to sort of try to get, I guess, relief in an American court. I guess
Right.
Have like government versus I don't know. Yeah, have some sort of bulwark. And the annoying thing about this is that none of the articles that I saw about it, and not even the legal document itself, actually says the amount of money that they owe.
Okay.
They always just say more money that exists in the world.
Yeah.
Which to me, that's but
there is a number you could calculate.
I don't
Yeah,
know. Maybe
although
the number's too large for the numbers we have currently.
it would be a lot of zeros, and then the next week it would go up by
But
a lot more.
That's why we have scientific notation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They should have just put it in scientific notation.
Yeah, everybody knows how to read that properly.
Anyway, so this is sort of one of those kind of, and the other thing actually that was part of the thing is, in total this guy was owed about, I think, something around $2,000
Ah,
is the amount of money that his Twitch account actually had earned that hadn't been delivered to him while he was streaming on it.
I would feel really bad too, because it's like if you lived in Russia and you were relying upon $2,000 US worth of income, that's going to translate into an awful lot of money to be able to
What
live
period of time?
in the States.
I don't know.
Let's assume it's a month. Let's assume he missed out on his monthly whatever. And I'm like, but also, if my understanding is correct, is that this guy's not really hurting for cash.
Well, I mean, that's kind of the thing. If it's $2,000 in a month, that's a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, that seems like a lot to me because I'd get nowhere near that on mine. But
So my understanding is that
if it's over like 4 years or something,
he's related to some specific Russian oligarchs who have a shit ton of cash. And
I mean, that's why this has progressed how it did in the courts.
how about that?
it's probably more about the sanctions than it is about the
Oh,
Twitch thing.
So anyway, I did also actually want to address one other thing with this. One of the images for this story, as is typical, as is a common image that shows up for the shoulder graphics, a pile of money, because it's a pile of money. You know, when people are talking, when the anchor is talking about something, I need something to show in the corner, put a pile of money there, and the image that was in the video, turns out it was actually an AI generated image of a pile of money, which I feel bad about because I mean, one, I feel bad. Yeah, I didn't intentionally use an AI generated image. Secondly, I have like half a dozen images of piles of money that I've used from previous stories, like clip art or like clip art of pile of money is like something that you can get a billion
Apparently, the last one, the burning pile of money, was also an AI.
Oh, really?
According to some people.
Unfortunately, usually the images, usually I'll source images, they'll either be like company logos or they'll be like official art or screenshots from a game, or they'll be, stock photos. Unfortunately, stock photos are now getting a little tricky. Sometimes they're not. One of the interesting, just a random behind the scenes thing is we were actually talking before filming this episode, Graham and Kathleen and I, about the idea of the danger, or the problem of getting sort of AI results when you're doing sort of Google image searches and different things like that. And and that there's, legit chances of them sneaking in. And I will say the other aspect of that is sometimes I want an image that's like portraying a general idea.
Right, a concept of some sort, yeah.
And I'll, look for
two boxing gloves mashing each other.
Yeah, or I'll look for a stock photo or something that'll sort of fit into that thing, or Google image search or something. And in some ways, it would be nice if there was, and I don't know, I might experiment with Photoshop. Adobe has theoretically an AI generation thing that's trained off only stuff that they own. I don't know. But there's a certain appeal to try to get an image that, because sometimes the issue that I run into sometimes is, one of the other stories for this, I wanted image of like a tired gamer, because it was for the Peggy story that we're gonna talk about later, where you're talking about they have to play all these games.
Yes.
And so I wanted like image of a tired gamer.
Yep.
And the danger, what I want is just sort of a general concept of a tired gamer. The danger when you're just like searching up images is that I will accidentally grab a specific person, tired gamer.
Right.
And not only that, it'll be like, oh, really? You're putting that guy in the thumbnail?
Yes, yeah.
Or it'll be, this was actually like a really serious thing that happened. This guy like, you know, had a problem on stream and collapsed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is actually like a really serious, you know, I don't know the context of the image.
Yeah.
And so in that sense, it would be nice sometimes if I could get an image that I know has no connection to anything in the real world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But finding a way to get that
So-
in an ethical
So
way is tricky.
may I suggest if you just want like an image of a tired gamer, just grab one of like Graham.
Yeah.
Or
Just
like whoever's
me-
story it is. I actually think it's even funnier.
Or just me sleeping in the during this Adam Solo RPG streams. Just me sleeping in the couch and just put like a controller
yeah.
on my chest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
But
own
yeah,
that
I mean,
picture.
even if you go with stock photos. So anyway,
Yeah.
that is but I do want to apologize for putting that in, and a couple people very rightly called us out in the comments because, of course, we've talked many times on both on ChillPoint and ChillPoint and other things that we've done against AI generated type stuff. So we don't want to do that. So I
mean, I think
apologize for using that.
I feel we can make the pledge that we're never going to go out of our way to generate images ourselves.
So yeah.
We can pledge that we're not going to, unless we. I mean, that's kind of the canary, right? But it's like we're not going to generate images ourselves to use for stuff that we do on ChillPoint. Occasionally, an AI image will sneak in because that's the fucking world we live in these days.
I mean,
and do our best to
well,
not do it.
As I've said in the past.
I mean, okay, so I don't know if I'd want to make promises because I feel like there are things that other people make that are AI art that show up as their stories as part of the story.
Oh, there's that too.
That
yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
In which case, like,
That's
I'm
true.
still not for showing it necessarily, but like,
I
if
mean,
you
we
need
have
context,
showed, we have showed AI images in the context of stories about
Yeah.
people using AI images.
Yeah, it's fair.
it's kind
That's
of,
fair.
yeah, it's a really annoying.
I mean, the other, I've talked actually before about like what I really want in an AI image generator that, as far as I know, doesn't currently exist, or it wouldn't. But theoretically, I think could be made, but there isn't the market other than people who make maybe people who like write video game articles, but but I would like it, if I could write in, Sony, Microsoft fighting each other with boxing gloves.
Yeah.
And it would pump out, the two logos fighting each other with boxing gloves.
Yeah.
That would be handy. That image isn't that hard to like quickly sort of fake up in Photoshop or whatever. But
It'd be certainly nice
it would be certainly nice, or just something that doesn't so much generate images as like pulls in, can like pull in the logos for different companies and stuff, which is kind of the opposite of what AI's trying to do these days. Like they're usually trained to avoid copyright logos.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, you need something that's kind of like how people on the net slash and chop together meme stuff, where they're like,
yeah.
I got these two guys who are fighting in a ring, and then I just cut out the logo with a white background and put it on one face, and then the logo. And put
It's
it on
like the
their
sort of
face.
thing that I can imagine
Yeah.
an AI could be good at doing,
Yeah.
but anyway, it's not.
You definitely
By the
get away
way,
from us.
I do very much enjoy like, I often use like Google image search or Bing image search or different image search things. And when there is a big story, like for instance, when there's like the FTC and Microsoft stuff, or Epic and Apple things, when there is a big story like that, if you search for in like Google image search like Epic versus Apple, the number of variations of the two companies' logos with boxing gloves, or the two companies' logos with like a big versus in the middle,
Yeah.
or like the two companies' logos with like on like a fighting game background, or whatever.
Yeah.
But the number of you can get
The number
like,
of cliches.
There's like 50 of those.
Yeah.
Because everyone needs just like something to illustrate the top of their article.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No more images,
Yeah.
just words in the slide, telling people what they should be imagining.
Yeah.
Just words to suggest to Google about this
Yeah.
particular thing.
I
Yeah.
have several of
So
those
this-
for me.
the reason this will work is because clearly there are many people who use all of our content as second screen content. They'll never know the difference.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure nobody looks at the pictures anyway.
Yeah, how about we just like feed the text of the article into like an image generation system, and it just generates and have it generate like 10 images, and then just use those without looking at them.
Oh my god.
It's the opposite of what I said.
Some of the shit I write, Paul.
I know. Anyway,
There are
Next story?
Yeah.
Hey, do you remember and enjoy Symbiogenesis? The extremely popular Square Enix game?
Oh, right. Okay.
Well, I mean, it
I
did.
don't remember
it didn't
it.
come out, did it? Technically,
Oh, it did.
Did it?
Yep. 2023.
What? No.
Yep. This story is about it shutting down.
Well, yeah, I know, but I thought it just never came out and it was being shut down.
No, it came out. This is its 5th season.
Nope.
I was looking at some stuff for this, and I was kind of hoping I could find an angle on this that wasn't like, one, it is a blockchain NFT game from Square, and two, nobody has heard of it.
I mean, I didn't know what you guys were
Well,
talking about. So,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like, I can't find. I could find barely any actual information about the game.
We might have talked about it back in 2023 when we were talking about how Square was trying to do NFTs.
Is
Yeah.
it not in English?
There is.
It is
There-
in English?
Well, I think it is primarily in Japanese.
Okay.
Some of the stuff I've saw of it seems to have English translation, so there might be a translated version of it as
Constantly
well.
had to check what the spelling was for the game, so I can't tell you beyond that about
mean,
anything else.
There's lots of stuff that I thought was like English games, and I find out later that no, it's just Korean, and it has a ton of English in it for some reason.
I mean, that could be the case.
Yeah.
That I did. So the other thing I noticed is that like I went to their, they tweeted the image that was like chapter 5, Symbiogenesis chapter 5, the final something, whatever.
The final Genesis.
Announcing the final chapter. And I was like, oh, I wonder what Symbiogenesis fans are. Are they all like,
What's the reaction?
no.
Yeah.
What's the reaction? So I go to their no responses to it. And then I look, there's their Twitter had like 600 people following it.
Oh.
And their Discord had like a couple thousand people. You need to join their Discord to play the game.
I want to believe that this game is only being played by bots.
Yeah.
Like that's the whole thing. It's like what if that was the case, that it's like somebody set up a bunch of bots to do all the blockchainy NFT nonsense or whatever to handle this.
That's usually crypto, isn't it?
Yeah.
In the
I don't know.
opening in the like today in the opening video for the checkpoint, I used a clip from the trailer for the game. Not that there was like a cinematic cinematic teaser.
Okay.
That didn't like show anything.
Oh.
But like it was just like
Oh, it's like one of those
swirling stuff.
and then words come down
Yeah.
and it sounds very important.
Okay. But then the trailer showed like some people doing, but they didn't see, like it still didn't show any gameplay. So I don't really know what kind of a game it is. But it did show some people, and the little clip I used for the today is legitimately from the trailer, where there's just the text over top of it. It's like, why does this world exist?
You think you had asked yourself that question before you made the game. Oh, well. Great. Well, it's shutting down, is it?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
June
So,
or
yeah,
July
the-
or something.
All right,
You know,
well,
the obvious, the story, for the thing for this was just like, hey, symbiogenesis exists. Also, symbiogenesis is closing. So feel free to drop it out of your mind. I apologize.
that made you think about it.
And, you know, you have my sympathies if you were deeply invested in symbiogenesis.
I think we would have heard from somebody in chat by now if they were, but maybe they're just too overcome with grief to actually type.
No.
They're just, the tears are streaming down their
I
face
doubt
and they
that.
can't even see the keyboard anymore.
No. But you know what game people are deeply invested in?
Oh, Balatro.
Yes.
And now you can play Balatro if you are a child.
Yep.
Well, 12
Well,
plus.
plus in Peggy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it was ever rated.
So
Was it rated like T for teen in North America?
You can. I don't know. You can. I think we should say that you can now play Balatro with the blessing of the gaming industry, not exactly the government, but the industry itself.
Right.
If you were
Sure.
if you're a teen.
So, Kathleen read the story. Beej wrote the story. I want to point out that I'm the one who said shitting their socks.
Yes, that was
Nice.
really
That
good.
was me.
Yeah.
I like that because
We thought about spare trousers, but-
it's like shitting your pants, but even worse, and
Yeah.
but with
And
more,
then you have to think about how it happened.
Yeah.
worse, but with very precise aim.
Yep.
I don't think Heather is aware of the term poop socking though.
Look,
She's
just
not.
because no, I don't need to know about any of your weird terms. I can black out at any time I
Yeah.
need to get this out of my head. So go
Yeah.
away.
All right.
Don't you dare.
But yes, we actually talked about this quite a bit actually before. I think a couple weeks ago
Oh yeah, yeah. The
That,
whole 18 plus thing and
that Balatro got hit by 18 plus.
for gambling imagery.
So yeah, now they have switched. They've actually successfully appealed the rating, and now it is a 12 plus. It used to be 3 plus, then it went to 18, and now it's down to 12. So
Yep.
better anyway.
It's a hell of a slingshot.
Yeah.
They sell it out somewhere. I'm sure there was a sense of like, well, we can't just back down. Yeah, but what are we gonna do? Well, we'll just give him 12 plus and make him go away. Okay, because yeah, what 4-year-old is gonna want to play Balatro? It's like none of them.
I was
Okay,
saying,
great.
like, I took a look and there's like 2 banana jokers, and I just don't understand why anyone thinks this is gambling.
Banana Joker.
But
I still haven't played this
So
game.
part,
I
I
had to look
mean,
stuff
one
up for it.
thing I did want to, because I was like, I'm writing something short, but then as I got to the end of it, I was like, you know, I like spare a thought for the toss a coin to your Peggy worker, because so we have a
tough deal.
we have a mutual friend who she used to work for the Alberta Film Classification Board, and I got to hear about the experiences of what it's like to work for that, because in Canada, every province has to rate movies. They have to rate the films that get shown in the movie theaters, and then they have a scale of
They do it independently.
yeah, they do it independently. They don't. I don't think they share them with each other, which is why you might be in BC and there's a movie that's up that's rated restricted with the cool little panther logo, which I love, and you don't remember that. Anyway, we'll get into that later. But
Sorry,
then,
I just read bananas and pajamas, so I was elsewhere.
but it might be rated 14A in Alberta because a human.
Albertans are like,
A human
BC
had,
people
had
are
to
weak
rate
and
it,
feeble.
right? Because you guys didn't have a 14A. You had like PG, PG-13, and then R, I think, was your next step. Whereas they added 14A in as a thing in Alberta, so it goes G, PG, 14A, and then restricted. And so
now we've got that
Yeah.
all too. But
And so my assumption is that working for an industry rating thing like the ESRB or PEGI or CIRO or whatever is much the same thing, is that you're given a checklist. You have to go through in a certain time period, as much time as you can. Like at least a movie is, going to be 2 hours long and it's going to be over. You don't know how long a game is going to take to actually see as much as what's in there. So you have this problem of, I need to go through and see how much of this stuff is actually represented. And I need to do that as fast as possible so I can go to the next thing so I can get that one done as fast as possible,
except-
because everyone is waiting to put their game out on a store and I'm going to get yelled at by those companies if we don't get this stuff done.
And I understand where you're coming from, where your experiences are, and why you think this way. I don't think video games are rated like that.
I don't know if they are either. Like
Also,
I feel like in
think-
a lot of cases that somebody working for a company has to come forward voluntarily and say, here are things that we know to exist
like-
in
Yeah,
the game.
they get sent materials. They I believe many of them actually fill out their own.
Like, I think a lot of it is guidance from the
Right.
developer, unless there's a reason for them to.
But then I have to assume that there are people who work for the ESRB or PEGI or whomever who are like, verify this. Like, go find the places and make sure that it is what they say
Yeah,
it is.
but that's where that's part of the materials they send in.
Yeah.
For one, and then when you part of your line said the muck of games on Steam.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure a lot of games that are on Steam because they're not sold physically or elsewhere. I think they also just fill out a questionnaire.
Voluntary, yeah. It's
Yeah.
a voluntary thing being like,
'Cause
this
I
is what this
think-
game is like.
I'm not totally 100% on this, so sure, yell at me if I'm wrong. But I think you don't necessarily have to, but then because you don't have, like, you have to say if it's like certain, like, nudity or whatever. But if you choose not to do those things, then you can't not have those tags.
Yeah. So
But yeah.
it's not entirely what I have represented here is not a factual. I did not talk
Yeah.
to PEGI employees to say this is how things
Well,
work.
you didn't.
I came across it from the point of
research
view of like,
anything.
if this was going to be like this is what the problem is. And don't you feel bad for those people who would have to sit there and play this game and have to figure shit out? And they just be like, it's a card game. There's poker hands, fucking gambling. We're done,
again,
and we move on, right?
Again, like it originally, if it came out at, was it 3+ or whatever?
Yeah. Somebody had to then review that.
They reviewed it, or the thing got put in, and then somebody saw it and was like, gambling imagery, and then they re-reviewed it probably.
Yeah. And I mean, because that's the thing is like it came out at 3+. Well, if the people who published Balatro in Europe were representing it as being like, no, it's this kind of game, and there's no violence, there's no sex, and there's no whatever, there's no bad words, there's nothing else. It's this style of game. And then if somebody comes along later and like, why do we have this rated 3+? Clearly, it's about gambling because it has like poker hands and it has all these things and everything else. And somebody has to go back and be like, oh shit, I guess it is, and they go ahead and they up it to 4. So in that case, there was human intervention and probably human review that said, oh, yes, I believe that the complaint that has come forth about this game is true in this case. Or a self-directed
Probably.
complaint, somebody within the agency being like, no, we think it's
I
this.
wouldn't
We
push
don't
it
know.
so hard to say that like a person didn't look at materials originally and put it at 3+ and was fine with it.
Because, again, we don't actually know how this whole process really works.
But yeah, I mean,
you
it's,
don't know how this process works. I did a little bit of looking.
But like, yeah, it's probably one of those things where if people are, they do more investigation when there are complaints or challenges.
But it is interesting though that if they came back and said, "Hey, this thing should be rated 18+," then they just rated it 18+. Did they go back to Local Chunk or anybody else and say, "Hey, by the way, we're making your game 18+, and that's all there is to it"? Or did they go back to them and say, "You have an opportunity to appeal our rating or
Probably
whatever"?
not, yeah.
Who knows? Like, did they have to wait to find out when the new rating came out and be like, "Oh shit, now I have to go make a new complaint"?
They might have gotten an auto email that was like, your game's been moved to
Re-rated?
this rating
That
or
could be.
something.
I don't know.
And then finally, Uncle Ben is in Marvel Snap briefly.
Well, I mean,
Because he exists to die. Which is, I
But-
guess, his role in most Marvel
Yep.
things. But yes.
yeah. Thank you for taking the whole video. I recut it a little bit so that his card gets destroyed when Kathleen says when his card is destroyed, and it brings in Spider-Man.
Oh, good. It was there wasn't like a trailer for him coming out, and so I had like a gameplay video, but it didn't.
Yeah. So I just
was
like
fast.
I kept
that
in
was
that
good.
initial thing where you see him really big, and then I cut to like a piece later on that matched up with more of what was being said.
Good call.
So it looks nicer. Not that anyone's gonna appreciate it or no, but I appreciate it.
The interesting thing about this, or one of the interesting, other than it's kind of in terms of mechanics versus story, it's an excellent, like, he comes out and then when he dies, Spider-Man comes in and replaces him.
Yes.
Just an excellent, like, top-down design. But one of the interesting things about this is that Uncle Ben as a card has been in the like people found it in the files for Marvel Snap
Years ago.
Well, I don't know how long Marvel Snap's been out.
They keep
Before-
saying the word years.
Years
Before
ago,
Marvel
yeah.
Snap was even conceived.
Yeah,
The articles say the word years, and who knows how many that is.
So it was found in the like in the source code for there was a plan to bring Uncle Ben into the game with a effect similar to this, although apparently the version that was found in the source code was like when he dies he puts Spider-Man into your hand, not just is replaced. So this is a better version of that.
Mm-hmm.
But so he's been there for like a while, and so
they didn't know
and
how
they
to
didn't-
introduce him.
yeah, and so they were looking, trying to figure out whether they wanted the card in there, and also then whether trying to find like a good opportunity to put him in. And at a certain point, they were like, you know what, we just got to put him in because there's like an event going on right now in the
Sanctum Sanctorum event.
Yeah, in the Marvel Snap thing, and which is like a Doctor Strange event. It's not like a Spider-Man specific thing. So Uncle Ben doesn't really fit, but they were like, you know what, we got to get him out there.
Yeah,
let's just put him out there. Yeah.
The funny thing though is what it represents to me is that if you're playing this game truly against another person, is that it might be the better interest of the person that you're playing against to not destroy Uncle Ben at all.
Well,
because that would summon Spider-Man to the field.
I mean, yeah. Part of how Marvel Snap works, though, is you don't necessarily have that choice. Like, depending on how, for example, in the video that we played at the end, it's not that the opponent is destroying him. It's you can
sack him.
The person put him down on a location that automatically kills him.
Ah, I see.
Yeah.
Well, that's wow. Okay.
Well, I mean, that is technically what he's there for.
Can I just say that I'm sure that because people have said Uncle Ben's the only character in Spider-Man who stays dead, and I'm like, I don't know how true that is.
I don't know. They keep digging him back up.
I feel like
every time I see a new movie.
There must be like there must have been some comics written where it's somebody like resurrects Uncle Ben or like clones him or like does some stupid shit like that kind of thing, right?
I mean,
I'm sure that exists
in the 100 years of Spider-Man comics. There probably is something.
Can I make a recommendation though? Is that rather than bringing him back to life, can we instead have a comic called "I Died in the Street in Front of My Nephew, but was reincarnated in a world where thousands of other versions of me are there, and now we run a small village and live a slow life"? Can we do that? Can we have an Uncle Ben isekai where they all live together in a big?
That title might be too long even for an isekai. By
I have seen some light novels that
5 words
that go on for a while. Like can Marvel do an isekai where all the family members who have died, who have been fucking fridged in order to like give all the superheroes motivations, they all end up in another
Tell me
world
when he's
somewhere?
done.
That I would like to see that. I'd like to see a what if that is like in a magical medieval world. Give him fucking like magic. I don't care. Give him a cheat ability.
What if there really is a farm upstate?
Yeah.
afterwards.
See, a lot of you are reacting like quite vociferously because you didn't think about this before, but I swear this would be an excellent event, and you all believe me. Hundreds of people on my side with this.
Sure,
Right.
they're definitely on your side.
If you understand any of the terminology at all, then Kathleen did go into the card a bit.
It's true, yeah.
In the after chat.
Give us some ideas.
Also don't play Magic, so I also didn't understand the magic metaphors they were going for, or similes, or whatever they were doing. But some people in comments seem to be understanding it, so you can watch that, or you can skip ahead. There's other talking.
Uncle Ben might not be that great a card.
I think it depends on what you're trying to do.
But Basically, yeah. The kinds of decks that would want a card like Uncle Ben wouldn't want a card like Spider-Man is the problem.
Yeah, it seemed to be the thing that they were going. I don't think that
I'm sure
means,
there's
like,
a version
I'm sure
that
there's a
works.
couple of
Yeah.
decks that probably are fun with that, but
I think the only the only Marvel property where Ben Parker has not died that we've seen is Madam Web.
does he even show up in there?
Yeah.
That's the whole, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of the whole relation there is that Ben Parker does show up very briefly in there because the whole
I don't
movie takes
remember that
place
part.
before the Parkers have a kid or whatever, something like that.
Oh,
but Ben
right.
Parker shows up
The
in
whole-
there, so it's like he is the uncle to the whomever. And that's
Yeah.
why Madam Web didn't do very well, is that they didn't kill off Ben Parker.
Yeah. He was like, I just love living.
Yep. They're like, oh, boo, boo, we only like Marvel movies if Ben Parker is dead, boo.
Okay,
Anyway, let's move on
please.
to something non-controversial.
Well, it is
how
video
about-
game news. I don't know what you mean by that, but
How about League of Legends?
again, not sure how we get not controversial about that.
Yeah. So
okay.
I like this story on Polygon starts with, it's been a rough time in the League of Legends fandom recently.
I mean, they've got Arcane.
I feel like almost any League of Legends story could start that way.
Oh, fair. Oh, yeah, okay, that's
Yeah,
true.
yeah,
That's true.
yeah.
But anyway, this is talking about how, wow, Arcane, yay.
I still got to
The-
finish that.
some of the decisions that have been made in the game have not been received as well. The biggest thing being the introduction of exalted skins, which are like a new higher, even better tier of skins, which are only obtainable through a gacha thing. Also, they removed Hextech chests, which were previously like a free way to get skins.
Loot boxes.
Yes, but they
But
were free.
flavored
They were
boxes.
free, whereas now you have to. There's a lot of currencies in
You don't
League of
say.
Legends, but yeah, previously you could get Hextech chests. You could get them for free for playing the game, and so they were like in a dev video. The head of League of Legends studio, Andre Van Roon, said, "Free chests unintentionally became the primary way to unlock skins, and an increasing amount of players ended up with substantial skin collections for free," which
That doesn't seem like a bad thing to me.
depends on whether you're
Yeah,
a company that makes all its money off selling skins.
If I'm the player, that doesn't seem like a bad thing to me.
Yeah.
But they put that in the game for people to get skins from.
It is not, but they say it is not. So, apparently people were willing to, I don't know.
Play hours and hours of League
People
in
were
order
willing
to
to
get...
grind more than they were expecting, I guess, maybe.
That's, I
Probably.
mean, shit, that's how I
That's
played a
more
lot of
than
gacha
likely.
games. Yeah.
They say it unintentionally became the primary way to unlock skins.
Well, yeah, because usually you expect to have like some players who will never put money in, who will always just grind, and then Beach, who will
Anyways.
just never play this game, and then you expect like a bunch more people who will get some for free but will pay for others.
So anyway, so they removed the Hextech chests, but now they're putting them back
Well, I mean,
somewhat. They're putting some back.
I heard Hextech was pretty unstable, so I don't know why anyone's using it.
Well, that's why you can't predict what's going to be in the chest, I guess. Sure. They're also going to reduce some of the costs of other things. Blue essence, which is one of the in-game currencies, costs. Some of the champions are going to cost up to 50% less blue essence. So you can build out your roster a little better. So the exalted skins were the thing where you had to pay for loot chests. But don't worry, if you spend $250 worth of rolls on loot chests, you guaranteed the skin.
Oh.
Like after $250, they're like, you know what? Here, have the skin.
It's like
Something.
going to like a Japanese festival or whatever and spending so much money on it. Eventually, the guy's just like, "Look, just take it and leave."
Please go away.
Yeah.
Um,
You spend enough, you're okay.
and on top of that, the most recent Exalted skin, San Urzal Mordenkaiser, was not very impressive, not very exalted as an Exalted skin. Because I know that like they do this. There's usually like levels of skins, and like the really fancy ones, like the idea is that they're like more full conversions. They've got special effects. They've got new animations. They've got all this stuff.
But not additional powers.
No.
Okay.
It's all cosmetic.
Yes.
But it's not just
Prettier.
like a changing colors. Like it's actually like a whole thing.
Right.
But apparently people were not impressed in the exalted version of this guy. So they are going to be delaying the skin to better deliver on its core fantasy. And they're going to be taking more time on future exalted skins. And also going to be reducing the amount that exalted skins are advertised in the client. Apparently people were just getting annoyed by
Can anytime we have to delay a project,
Can we say
can we say that it's so that we're working harder on the core fantasy of it?
Yeah, I like that.
I like, so here, the blog post they did, they say, we know some of you are frustrated, even questioning if Riot is still the company you've always known. We aspire to put players first, and when our decisions don't land in the way we intend, it can damage your trust. I love the idea that it's like, no. We were intending this to be, the whole removing of the free loot boxes and stuff. That was supposed to be a really positive thing.
Yeah.
But it just didn't land the way we intended it to. We know getting League to the right place isn't about one set of changes. It's about continually refining and improving the game in ways that make it better. We think today's update is an important step, and we will keep tracking how these changes feel, talking with all of you about things are landing and making adjustments. Thank you for sticking with us and hearing us out. We look forward to working with you to make League the best game it can be. So anyway, they basically, long story short, they made a extremely unpopular change in the economy of the thing. Everyone got mad. They rolled it back partially.
And sometimes I just feel like these games are done getting made and they just are sitting around twiddling.
I mean, well, that's this weird thing, like, especially like League of Legends. Like,
Yeah.
League of Legends is basically
Largely unchanged from...
well, like the gameplay is fundamentally the same.
Yeah.
So League of Legends,
but they just make more characters.
There's been very few
in
balance
League
changes.
of Legends is like Magic the Gathering or other card games. They keep introducing more characters. I'm assuming probably like mechanics that go with those
New
characters
yeah.
and such. So the gameplay itself is probably pretty stable. It's all about then tweaking characters and things for working in that system.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is a whole different kind of
once you start
setup.
thinking of it like a card game, it just makes about as much sense.
That's fair.
Speaking of gamers being annoyed at things, which again is one of those lines that could sort of start most checkpoint stories. But anyway, Tekken
Yep.
is something that annoys gamers. Mm-hmm. But in this specific circumstance, they're talking about the new DLC for Tekken, for the latest Tekken 7?
8.
8.
They're on 8. It looks like a
Tekkaiden.
Infinity
chain
symbol?
link thing.
Right.
Oh, okay.
I thought the logo looked cool, so I remember it now.
They have said that Anna is going to be coming, or Anna Williams. I think
Sure.
Anna
Let's
Williams.
just say Anna.
Is going to be coming in as DLC. And she is a very prominent Tekken figure.
Yes, from a while ago.
She's a very popular, very prominent Tekken figure. They've given her a whole makeover. Mm-hmm. And people have opinions.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that's normal.
About the new design.
Yep, still normal.
So there was a complaint made by one of those fans.
Like, yes. And And this is one of those things where I think this is a recurring thing that the lead dev, what's his name?
Katsuhiro
Harada is known for being a little spicy on
Maine.
on the social medias. And so somebody tweeted out to Tekken, can you guys bring back the old Anna design? I don't like the new design. Replacing Anna with this new character is the devs' way of getting back at Anna fans for all these years of support, and it makes me sad.
Now, can I say, very anodyne kind of complaint. Blurg, I'm mad that not same as before, blargledy blarg, done.
It's the
kind of like,
it's the
no
like,
real effort.
But I love the like, it's not that it's like, I don't like this design.
It's revenge.
It's that for some reason, you guys have always had it out for the fans of this character, and you're just doing it like this to punish us.
Why is it whenever people say these things, the revenge is actually the most mundane thing? There's so many better ways to get revenge, like not giving you the character at all.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Or telling you straight up, it's like, we were going to put this into the game, and now we're going to hold off another 2 weeks.
There's so many better ways for revenge that are more interesting than I made the character slightly different, and it turns out you didn't like it.
Yeah.
So the real story here is the response.
So the response, he goes, while 98% of the fans are welcoming this, there will always be people like you.
Oh, yes!
I'm pretty sure this guy is not like a games journalist, or I think this is just like random Twitter guy.
Yep.
He's being put on blast.
Good start.
I understand and sympathize that it may not suit your personal taste, but if you prefer the old design, past works already exist. I am not taking those away from you. Also, you refer to yourself as Anna fans, as if you represent all Anna fans, but you should express your opinion as an individual. You threaten to quit if she isn't brought back. You complain the moment she is brought back. You demand that she be reverted after she has been completely redesigned from scratch, including her model and framework. And if she were actually reverted, you would say, but that's recycling. Either way, your method of expressing your opinion and the content of your argument are entirely unconstructive, utterly pointless, and above all, disrespectful to the other Anna fans who are genuinely looking forward to her.
See, somebody who can write something like that can come up with a way more creative way of having revenge on you if they really wanted revenge.
It's very
like that.
I don't know if this is a translation or if he actually is a
Writes like this in English.
Is a very because it's a very clear English.
Yeah. It's because I mean, like it's even from Niji Sachanoru, which could also be in originally Japanese and then posted in English as well. These are posted to Twitter in English, like they're not posted. These are as translated from the Japanese kind of thing. It's so remarkable that the takedown like starts with the whole thing. It's like, you're a problem. Let me explain to you why you're a problem. And I'm going to be very clear about how every part of your argument does nothing to support. You're not doing any sort of criticism. You're just screaming into a void, but you want me to watch you scream into a void. It's very like, I'm going to take you apart piece by piece. And I want this to be a lesson, not to you, but an example made to everybody else, that when you do this kind of thing, it is not helpful, and we are not interested in hearing it.
In the responses, so different guy.
Yeah,
98. So he said 98% fans are welcoming this. So somebody else says 98% of fans are welcoming. Lol. Stop pulling statistics out of your ass. Tekken 8 has had a constant negative feedback about the design of characters. Anna's design goes against her entire character, and it's cheap from the Tekken team to try and copy the novelty of Jury. And then he responds.
Yeah.
People think, that's the thing. People think they can kind of, yell into the void.
Yeah.
And then the void has ears.
Void his ears.
He comes back. Unlike you, I am also a professional in statistics, and I have the means to obtain statistical data. You do not. That is a significant difference. One more thing. Stop making counter arguments based on your baseless assumptions. It only exposes your shallow values and lack of intelligence. If you don't like something, you don't have to buy it. You don't have to comment. You can simply leave. That's exactly what I do. At the very least, from now on, you'll be muted and will disappear from my view.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So here's a fun
Anyway.
thing, because it doesn't happen to us very often, but I have seen the odd commenter in YouTube. They'll be like, "If you don't stop doing this thing, I'll unsubscribe," which is funny because they don't have a subscription thing by their thing. And I'm just like, I make this easy for you, and I just hit a ban button.
Yeah.
Like, go.
Yeah.
There's an old.
It's true.
There's a really great series of. It was just like, I think it was just like a series of posts. It might have been even like starting on like something awful or something, but it was like video game store diaries. Like it was just this guy. It was just this guy, telling stories about working at a video game store.
Okay, sure.
And the silly things people coming in. He's saying the number of people that that threaten to never come back after they've been banned by the store, after I banned them from the store.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Anyway,
yeah.
so this is mostly entertaining just because I mean, obviously I don't play Deccan. I don't have a strong opinion about her new design. Clearly, it is a very it's a new design and a change and thing. And it's entirely within your rights to not be happy with that new design.
Yeah.
But if you might get blasted by the developer of the game if you if you're impolite about expressing it on social media.
If you're gonna add the developer of the game, that's definitely not gonna help.
There was this was going to form one half of a story I was thinking about, and I couldn't turn it into anything. But it was basically a thing of how gamers sometimes say the stupidest shit, and it's really good that devs these days, we're seeing more and more devs, in fact, have that thing of like, no, I'm going to take a stand here and just say that if this is not to your tastes, stop talking to me. It doesn't matter anymore. It's good that a dev is willing to stand up and say, we're going to do this thing regardless of whether or not that there's some people out there who are complaining about it. And I'm like, okay, that's great. That's half of the story.
I will say it is a very dangerous mode. Like,
Yeah.
he did an excellent job.
Yeah.
The people who he's getting, that he is chastising, that kind of person also sometimes runs the social media account of game developers.
Yeah.
And there have been quite a few instances of game developers causing more trouble for themselves.
There's that too.
Than fixing.
Yep.
By getting by putting their hot takes on main. So it is a whatever, a varsity level.
You have to have some real skill.
Yeah, it's a dangerous, but it can be rewarding, but it is a very dangerous move.
And some safety.
You got to know what you're doing.
You might not be able to get away with that as a dev at a specific company.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed Shadows is kind of been released.
No, people who are playing an early copy is not.
Some people broke street date.
released.
Yeah. People have ended up with copies of it, and not just like somebody got a hacked copy, like actually retail, what appear to be retail copies of Assassin's Creed Shadows. Now, Ubisoft
But it's like coming out tomorrow, right?
March 20th.
I think
was
it's
what was said.
mid-March.
So they got it real early.
Yeah, it's like a month early.
Like it's quite early.
Damn.
Yeah. Now, Ubisoft has said, is like, this is do not look at these are, early, do not reflect the final thing.
Right.
Which
Interesting.
is a little bit like, sure, I guess there's going to be like a day one patch or something.
Right.
But like this is the retail copy.
Yeah, this is the
it's
one you put out.
It's not going to be that different.
Yeah, and I think it's a little
there's
disingenuous.
There's bug fixes and stuff, but it's
Yeah.
not like the graphics are going to get way better.
Yeah, it's a little disingenuous to say that it's like, oh, don't think about just this because at that point it's like we're just releasing betas onto Golden Master now. We don't give a shit, and then by day one we'll make it all be perfect. It's like no,
there are companies.
Yeah.
yeah,
I don't know. I wouldn't put that. I wouldn't say companies don't do that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think there have been.
So we just want to be clear: Ubisoft is telling you to not buy Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Before March 20th.
Sorry, that's the part I didn't say.
Yeah. I like this. I do like this statement. Hello, everyone. We are aware players have accessed Assassin's Creed Shadows ahead of its official release. The development team is still working on patches to prepare the experience for launch. Any footage shared online does not represent the final quality of the game. Leaks are unfortunate and can diminish the excitement for players. We kindly ask you to not spoil the experience for others. Thank you to our community for already taking steps to protect everyone from spoilers. Stay in the shadows, avoid the spoilers, and keep an eye on our channel for more official surprises coming in a few weeks. See, what I would do in this is you're like, leaks are unfortunate and can diminish the excitement for players, and we kindly ask you not to spoil the experience for others. If you happen to have a leaked copy, please, whatever you do, don't tell people about the thing.
Start teasing spoilers. Yeah.
Please don't tell them about the thing that happens.
Don't tell them about that.
I mean, yeah.
Drive some hype.
Every time there's a game that I'm excited for, generally there's at least a 2-week period beforehand because almost every game feels like it gets leaked now, that I can't go on the internet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then a much bigger period of time after because I don't generally get to play a game the day it launches.
God,
things.
It would really suck if actually even though they are releasing it on March 20th, it would suck if they had to push the release date by like another 2 weeks because they had to fix something else in the patches.
I mean, they've had to push it a few times.
Yeah.
Of course, maybe people playing it early will be like, hey, we found this bug.
Yeah.
Like there's like one thing you shouldn't do when you get yourself an early copy. Just don't stream it.
Yeah.
They will shut that down. Go make your videos and stuff. Have it go out like the moment you can. But if you really want to do the content creation thing or whatever, but
or
streaming it on Twitch just gets you banned and shut down.
Or do what we do is stream it, but leave your camera on booth the entire time. And that way nobody can see the game, and but they can see you enjoying it.
And then you
That's not going to do much for you. So.
That was so cool.
I can't.
Am I still on booth?
I can't believe they did that. Anyway, despite everything, I have to admit that I am somewhat interested in Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Hell yeah.
You should do a bonus stream for Fallout for the ending. Only on booth.
Only on booth.
Only on booth.
It's not like it would be like holding back information people haven't seen
Everyone
already.
knows.
So,
Yeah.
But Fallout, you're right, because Fallout's been out forever. So you're
but
right.
they'll be so mad about it.
Yeah. Or flip it so it's just running very tiny in the.
No gameplay whatsoever. I dare you. Go for it.
Speaking of people stealing things, that totally works. The Burglar is back in The Sims 4. The aptly named Robin Banks, who's the name of the burglar character in The Sims, who was in previous Sims games and wasn't in Sims 4
Right.
until now. Apparently, some people have been put her back in with mods and stuff, but now she's officially back in with a free update. And apparently, there are over 50 unique reactions Sims can have to the burglar. They can try to fight them. They can pull out a freeze ray. I guess if certain things are met. If you have like a pet, like a dog will chase them away.
Okay.
I believe you can romance them.
Nice.
I mean, probably.
Yes. players of taste and refinement can befriend or even seduce Robin Banks, adding her to their household.
Can you join them on their escapades?
I like if Robin becomes a roommate or dies, she will be replaced by another sim.
What?
I don't know how that works.
I don't.
Robin,
Supposed to replace people like that?
I feel like there's some
there
really
always
good.
must be a burglar.
There's some
there must
really
be a
good.
burglar. When one
That's-
burglar
that's-
dies, another
that's-
one rises.
That's somebody filling a job position. That's not like that wording sounds like we're replacing a human being.
That's I mean, well, because like you used to be able to pick burglar as a job in the earlier
Well, you
Sims,
could pick
right?
you could pick a crime track.
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
I often did
Yeah,
because it
And
was funny.
So I assume that I don't know if you can in Sims 4 or not.
Also, my criminals were always deathly afraid of being burgled. It was
Also,
No honor among thieves.
But yeah,
Yeah.
depending on what other expansions you have for your Sims thing. So like the cats and dogs expansion, you can have a dog that will chase the burglar off. There's an expansion where you can be a werewolf, so you can be a werewolf.
oh yeah, there's the werewolves
and she'll
vampires
run away.
thing.
Yeah, a vampire will eat suck her blood, or
Whoa.
will attack her. So anyway, apparently this is something they've been working on in the last few expansions. Is like making sure that the expansions interact with each other in a fun way.
Okay. I like this idea. I actually just like the idea of this cat burglar like sneaking into my house, and then I romance them, and then it's like every day when I go see them off for work, that it's just like I go to the window and you like, bye honey, give them a kiss, and they jump out the window and then they go off to do their thing, and I go to bed, like that kind of idea.
I mean, you say that, but I definitely had a maid stay at the house because I thought then I would get free maid services, and she just quit being a maid.
Well, I wouldn't want the burglar to move in my house and then rob my house every night. Because then she's just coming back the next morning being like, look at all this stuff. I'm like, that's our stuff.
Yeah, but
feel
you
like-
keep it at the house.
I
It's
feel
fine.
like this would be it could be kind of problematic from a relationship standpoint. Just like, honey, do you know what happened to my watch? Oh, now it's always blaming me.
Yeah, you can't find your watch, so you think I stole it.
Blame the burglar.
Just because I'm an international jewel thief, you think I stole your ring.
Anyway,
Maybe your ring would, if your ring was worth stealing, I would take it.
Oh, shit. Oh, you bought me that ring. I thought you spent 3 months of your ill-gotten gains on it.
It was a really bad time period where I couldn't steal shit.
Get in the pool.
Helldivers 2 has a new event going on. I love Helldivers 2 events. So, if you recall, when we last left our heroes,
Shovel.
Yeah, they
from
had
what
a
I
poop
understand,
shovel.
is going on in the Hell. Yeah, we don't know what happened with so far. This story doesn't talk about whether the shovel situation has developed, but the black hole situation,
The singularity.
the Marindia singularity.
Oh, it's a space shovel.
Is not going well.
Okay.
Apparently, it's moving towards Super Earth,
Oh no.
which is bad.
Oh no.
So there's new strains of the Terminids and the automatons and different things. But one of the things that they do is, to compare it to something that you might recognize, you know how Splatoon did those like splat events where you have to like choose which is better, hamburgers or
Hot dogs.
or
Yes.
whatever.
Yeah.
They kind of do that in the sense where they're like, we've got two things, that there's two situations going on,
Okay.
and the player base is going to choose what happens.
Oh.
So previously there was one that was like, in June 2024, you had the choice of the player base could either get new MD-17 anti-tank mines, or the Super Citizen Anne's Hospital for Very Sick Children would be saved. and the player base had to choose which one.
I think Splatoon should try one of those.
Depending on how they, depending on like what way they went to fight.
I'd like to see a Splatfest where it's like, do you get tanks or do you save a hospital?
Especially because like one of those things just will not show up in the game whatsoever. Yeah.
So it's now.
Do you want these or not? Is what they're trying to say.
The game community chose to save the kids.
Okay, good.
Well, that's
And
nice of
Arrowhead
them.
donated a bunch of money to the Save the Children.
That's cute.
Foundation,
Good for them.
which is great. So they're trying another thing, where there's.
Are they trying to make Split the Room work?
I mean, maybe.
And there's just like, so the first one didn't quite
Yeah.
go the way we thought it would. So we'll make this like harder. We'll
So-
make a harder choice now.
So the automatons have launched a brazen attack, underhandedly capitalizing on the ongoing Terminate and Illuminate offensives to further their despotic schemes. Intercepted communications indicate that the enemy has 2 ultimate targets, but our Federation only has the resources to save 1. So I believe where is the where sorry the
Trying to find the choices.
the thing of choices is here we go. So either you do get MD8 gas mines.
Okay, more mines. Okay.
So a different type of mines.
Yeah.
Apparently, mines historically have not been that popular as a tool,
okay.
but these people are kind of excited about these.
Mm-hmm.
Or they can save the moderately feeble young adults on Yunheim. They haven't said if that results in what that would result to in the real world, if that would result in the thing.
So the choice before was, do you want anti-tank mines or do you want to save these fictional children? And they're like, oh shit, we want to put mines in the game. Do you want these gas mines, which are even better than the anti-tank mines, or do you want to save some like Twilight kids, essentially?
Moderately feeble young adults.
And just be like, how are you feeling about now? How do you feel
So they
about now
keep
that you're
making-
like, you don't really give a shit about these people?
So they keep having to make they keep making the weapon better
Yeah.
and the people you're saving better.
Yeah.
Like not as sick.
Because it's the next thing.
Until they get to whatever they find the equilibrium with their audience.
Again, they're trying to find Split the Room.
They're gonna pick young adults for this one, and then they're gonna be like, God damn it, and be like, okay, who among you want these atomic mines, or would you like to? What would be a good option here?
Save the old
The
people.
bullies who used to torment you in high school.
Seems
What would you
seems
like?
a little too on the nose.
It's a little the little trolley problem kind of situation.
Yeah, just
anyway,
really lean into it.
yeah. So anyway, who knows? I'm pretty sure. I think this is an ongoing thing. So the decision has not been made yet. But and this is like, it's not like a vote. It's a depending on what areas you decide people, the community ends up defending and stuff, because that's the sort of the neat thing about Helldivers is it has this sort of overarching campaign that is influenced by what the players do, but of course the game the Arrowhead ultimately has control.
Oh sure,
over
they could
what-
just put the mines in the game, and who cares?
If people keep saving people instead of going and doing a thing that lets them get new game content, then they don't have to make new game
That's true.
content.
Yeah.
I
But
believe-
I think they're itching to put more game content.
Well,
in.
then they should just do it.
Yeah, it's true.
Shouldn't they?
I believe I saw, I don't know, I don't think it was in this story, but I believe the sort of what they the sort of the GM, as in like what they the entity or the person at Arrowhead that's designating where the bad guys are moving to and
Oh,
doing
I
all this
see.
stuff.
Okay, yeah.
They is called, I think, is Joel. They're like who decides like where the bad guys are going to be moving to.
And is the
stuff.
real person's name Joel, or they're just calling them the Joel?
I don't know
Okay.
if Joel is a real person or whether it's just a name that they're blaming everything on.
I'm just saying that if you want to go out to like Wendy's, you don't go, hey, does anyone want to go to Wendy's or Burger King? You You just don't give people a choice.
That's
Yeah.
true. You just say, I'm going to Wendy's. Does anyone want to go to Wendy's with me?
Yeah.
Or if you're like me, you just leave. You don't care if people follow.
I've gone to Wendy's.
Yeah.
I'm
Where the hell's
going.
Heather? I've already gone to Wendy's and I'm on my way back.
All wouldn't stop talking, and I was hungry.
And finally, surprise, surprise, there's a bug in Destiny 2. Now,
Really?
I think there's a lot of them.
but
It's like a whole swarm.
what's particularly interesting about this glitch in Destiny? So, Destiny 2 has an update. The Heresy update happened earlier in February. Gave out 3 powerful exotic weapons for each of the 3 classes.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Oh, this, yeah.
The Edge of Intent, the Edge of Concurrence, and the Edge of Action.
These are all glaives.
If you don't know, Destiny 2 weapon names are bonkers.
Yes.
But yes,
Sounds
these
very-
are glaives.
Very edgy.
Yes, they are very edgy. So the interesting thing about this, though, is the bug is that there's one for each class.
Yes.
But apparently that due to some other things that they did, the locking to the classes part didn't work as well as they were hoping.
Oh no.
So you can end
So
up with a glaive that doesn't technically belong to your class.
Yeah, so you can end up with the weapons can go to the wrong classes, which presumably the weapons are sort of are optimized for the kinds of things that each class wants to do. Whether
Yeah.
you're a tank or whether you're whatever.
A warlock. Yeah.
But on top of that, the weapons have animations associated with them.
Right.
And of course, the animations are tuned to the class, and the classes they're fundamentally sort of human shaped, but they're different size. They're big guys or little guys,
Different
thin
builds.
guys, different builds, and so the animations are optimized to the thing that the class that the weapon is for.
Right.
So when you are using it with the wrong class, apparently the animations go a little wonky in a fun way.
So the glaive, I'm seeing here from Socratic Method, the warlock glaive would drop for the warlock every time, right? It's not like the Titan would get the warlock's glaive or something as like a whatever. But it sounds like the warlock, that if you're playing multiple characters, I could see you definitely being able to give it to your Titan if you wanted to.
Yeah, I guess.
I don't really know.
Because there's a
this
way that
article-
this can happen.
Yeah, this article doesn't actually go into how you do the glitch, but apparently it is possible.
Oh, they could not be equipped. So everything in this article is apparently not true.
I don't know.
Who knows? The thing is that they were saying this is a bug. And then they realized that people are enjoying trading glaives or having a
Yes.
different glaive
Yeah.
with different animations and different
And-
crap that your characters can do.
Yes.
And they
so-
said now it's a feature.
And they're like, well, it's not so much a feature. Like, they're not going to make it official.
Yeah.
But they're not going to fix the bug.
Yes. And I mean, it stands to reason that at this point, Destiny 2 is probably like, this is not that big a deal. And we're not looking to keep this game going forever anyway.
This is Helldivers 2, not Destiny.
Yeah.
No,
This is Destiny 2.
This is Destiny.
Yeah.
Did we move on?
We
Yes.
moved on.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sorry.
sounds like the same game to me.
But it means that
Helldivers was the thing about the people saving the orphanage or whatever.
and I do
Anyway.
I love that it's like your Titan would normally have like a certain stance and a certain animation set, but if you give them the one that the hunter uses, all of a sudden their actions would be completely different. And so it's fun to see like, oh, your character now is acting differently because of thanks to having this thing, which I'm sure is exciting and different for people.
It's a bit weird. They say, for example, it's a bit weird to see a warlock or a hunter spawning a mini bubble or seeing a Titan running like a ninja. But they're saying the animations may look a bit weird, given that the class-based swords are a bit older, and this can create some fun opportunities to players to create videos, art, and other things based on classes in different stances. Say the exotic glaives open up interesting new build crafting opportunities. They will keep a close eye on performance to make sure they aren't like weirdly off balance. Like they're saying, basically they think it's okay because it's actually like not a good. It's not like it's breaking the game because it's not actually a good build for the people who aren't supposed to be using it.
Right.
They said they even felt inspired to create some future animations for Titans and Warlocks based on the ninja and sword master fantasies associated with Underswords. No promises on timelines or anything like that, but this gives us some fun creative space to work with. While we won't always look at weird bugs and decide to support them as a feature, this felt appropriate.
I mean, ultimately, a game like Destiny, especially with how far it's been, how long people have spent developing their loadouts and their shaders and like all their other kind of things that you do. It's like you're trying to build a very personalized representation, a very personalized avatar of yourself in this world. And to be like, oh, now I can do these slightly different things with it, I think is yet another like step towards that kind of personalization, making you even more unique in that way that I'm like, I like to do all this, but I also like to have this glaive instead of this other glaive. And it's like, yeah, that's kind of fun. I think that's cool.
I do kind of love this idea of them being like, guy running in like, oh crap, that update we just pushed out actually had there was a glitch. And now that we did this, now people are using these weapons and it's totally messed up. Look at these animations.
Yeah.
Holy crap. And then everyone's like, tap, 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 tap. Gotta fix this. And then one person's like, but do we?
Yeah. But isn't this cool?
Yeah. Like, what? Is this actually a problem?
Yeah.
Maybe we just don't. And
everyone stops for a second. They're like, yeah.
It is Friday.
Yeah.
It is. It is Friday.
Yeah, it's Friday.
We could go to Wendy's.
We could.
Why, somebody's already gone. Anyway. So, that is a fun thing.
There was because I did mention that there was like a second story that was going to comprise the second half of that thing I mentioned earlier about like, oh, game devs fighting back, and because the fans say stupid things, right? Mm-hmm. And there was another story which we don't have to get into, but we
are running out of time.
Yeah, I know, I understand that. I did look at my watch and I confirm what time it is.
Sure.
But it was about how there is a game out there right now where the devs it's been noticed that the devs have been putting in generative AI.
Right, it's called
Black Ops.
Black Ops. Yeah.
And like, so the fans are fighting back to be like, we don't want this, we hate this, we're upset about this kind of thing, and I'm like, that was going to be the second half of that story, to be like, hey, you know what? Sometimes game devs do stupid shit, and it's important for gamers to actually speak up and say things to them and call them out on their stupid shit. And I'm like, so in conclusion, the video game industry is a land of contrasts.
One of the interesting thing about the Call of Duty thing, because we did a story about that a while ago.
Yeah.
Where there was like, they did a promo image of like zombie Santa with 6 fingers.
Yeah. That's right.
And so people were like, hey guys, you're using AI. And Steam has implemented a thing you have to disclose whether you're using
generative AI or not.
Whether you are using generative AI and how you are using it on your description about your game. And so there was a lot of speculation about whether it's like, are they using it in the game? Is it just this promotional material? But the Steam page for Call of Duty Black Ops has been updated to say that they are using it inside. And which, in response, people are like kind of review bombing it and giving it some bad stuff. So, and being annoyed, rightly. So
rightly.
Anyway, but yes, as Heather's saying, we should get going because something very special is coming. Episode 2 of Friday Nights will be premiering on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/LRRMTG. in just a few minutes. So, in that, we will say goodbye for now. If you haven't watched the episode of ChillPoint, that's on our video game channel, youtube.com/LRRVG. And you should go look at it.
You can also support all of our channels on YouTube as well by becoming a YouTube member. And you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun and hit up the store.loadingreadyrun.com.
But anyway, thanks for joining us, and we will talk to all y'all later. Bye.